All righty. This week in AI and Cyber, we're going to be diving into increasing profits in your business and reclaiming time in your personal life. This is Real Talk AI and Cyber. Quick hits for increasing profit and reducing friction. I'm here with my good friend and business partner, Joel Hallbaker. What's going on, Joel?
Hey Ron, how you doing? Sounds
I'm
good.
good, man. I'm good. Let's jump right into the news. Let me share my screen real quick. So we got Goldman Sachs this week saying that AI, not tariffs, are going to be revitalizing the U.S. manufacturing, specifically talking about their AI tools and fueling fears that rise of machines could hit jobs. Oh, I got to hit this video real quick. One of my favorites. You seen this one, Joel?
I don't think so. No.
All right, here it goes, man. Watch this. Oh boy. Uh-oh.
Oh, maybe I have. Yeah.
Oh boy.
I think they got that thing tethered.
Look at dude coming around trying to figure it out. That's great.
Just let that run out of juice.
That's a lot of robot. Yeah, so
Right.
Goldman Sachs said Monday it'll roll out an artificial intelligence tool that could be used to take over tasks traditionally done by junior bankers, fueling ongoing fears that the technology could soon eliminate entry-level jobs. AI will be used to generate efficiency gains in the Wall Street giant's investment banking and wealth management divisions by helping employees with everyday tasks, according to an internal memo circulated. It was interesting to me that what their response was here. It says, today marks an important moment in our AI journey as we are excited to announce the firm-wide launch of the GS AI Assistant, the first generative AI-powered tool to reach this scale. The David Solomon-led financial powerhouse had previously rolled out the tech to 10,000 of its estimated 46,500 global employees. Thousands of our people are already using the GS AI Assistant, and I hope all of you will start exploring how the tool can positively impact your daily tasks and boost productivity, from summarizing complex documents and drafting initial context to performing data analysis, they said. Our people are our most valuable asset. This was interesting here. Nick, what's his name? Parsatera. We view AI-powered tools as helping them be more efficient and enabling them to serve our clients even better. You know, I think that's the pull that I'm seeing, Joel, is it seems like there's a lot of fears about AI taking over people's jobs. But at the same time, everyone, including us, are saying, no, AI is not replacing people. It's taking over some of the tasks that people really maybe don't want to do or shouldn't do to allow people to be better at what they do and doing the things that people do. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's what we've been saying, right? I mean, but I think this fear around AI taking jobs, it's still well founded. I think here, at least in the short term, in a sense, right? I mean, I think Salesforce's CEO recently just said that right now, 50% of the work, up to 50% of the work done in their company right now is being done by AI, right? I mean, well, I mean, how does that translate? Does that translate to, well, we still are paying everybody on our workforce, but we're getting 50% of it done with AI? Or does it translate to, well, I think it's about time to look at some layoffs, right? And, in the same breath, that CEO says, well, AI is allowing people to move on to higher level jobs, right?
Yep.
To something that is more suited for what humans can do versus what AI can do. Okay, that's great. That's great. But there's going to be a shakeup, right? There's no way around it. There's going to be a shakeup. Some people are going to lose jobs. New jobs are going to be created. Some jobs are just going to go away altogether. It's going to happen. But I think what we're saying here, what we're preaching here is the best thing you can do for yourself is don't wait, right?
Yeah.
Get ahead of this.
Yeah.
Get into AI, invest in it, learn it, practice with it, use it all the time. And as we have to say, that people don't get replaced by AI; they get replaced by people that are good with AI. Right?
You said it, brother. You said it. Second news story we got here, similar with HSBC Bank here. It looks like they're looking to automate some back office jobs using AI to boost its investment bank's returns. Specifically, they make this claim, which I thought was pretty pretty large. AI agents autonomously perform tasks on behalf of a person or a system. Causal Lens offers a platform rather for what it calls digital workers that handle data and analytics processes. Its website says the technology can automate up to 90% of tasks at 10% of the cost. That's it's pretty big claim. I don't know if you saw the Joe Rogan and Barry, what's the guy's name? Bernie Sanders. Thanks. Yeah, one thing my dad told me, don't bring religion and politics into business unless you just want to lose half your customers, right? So we'll keep that part out. He also told me to make a friend rather than an enemy, which is very good advice as well.
Very wise.
But, they were talking about this idea here about what happens when AI partnered with a robot literally displaces people. And the example that they were giving was, I think, and I don't know if this is true or not, that's just what they said, I'm just repeating what I heard from them. They were talking about China had specifically used for their coal mining, it was an entirely non-human system. Everything was done bottom to top. I guess there's probably still people overseeing it, but it was a good thing in that some of the dangerous jobs like mining coal got the black lung pops, right? It helps people to not have to do those jobs. And like factory jobs, I mean, really, right. Is the 9 to 5 Monday through Friday how people are made to work? Is that really how we're made to work? That came about as part of the factory worker and so forth. So I think some jobs are going to be replaced. Certainly, maybe it's going to allow people to do what people do best: be humans. Right? Be humans. AI sucks at being a human.
It does, yeah. And I mean, we've had jobs go to robots, right, for a long time, and you're right. That may not be a bad thing, right, in some sense. It's just
I agree.
It's this transition period that could get a little rocky, but yeah, I agree. Now, this company talking about about AI taking on 90% of the workload. Are we talking about agents here, agentic AI?
Yeah, it looks like we're specifically talking about AI agents called digital workers that can handle data and analytics processes. And I think that's exactly right. Information workers, white collar type stuff where we're just crunching numbers. We're just, this type thing. I think that a lot of that is going to be automated by AI. For us right now, Joel, in our business, we're able to take large amounts of data, put it in our AI and compress that information and give us back, observations, insights. It's kind of, you got to watch it. It's not always right, but,
sure.
It is valuable. It's certainly better than nothing. Having to read a 40-page document. It's nice to be able to summarize some of that.
Yeah, and it's all about, it's prompt engineering, right? It's all about how do you ask the question and what questions are you asking? And are you defining, are you telling AI, you want to just upload a document, give it some data and say, tell me what you think about this, right? Not going to get a lot out of that. I wouldn't imagine, right? But if you tell AI, hey, you are the CFO of a $50 million company, here are your numbers from last quarter, review this and pull out the key takeaways that you're going to present to the board to justify X, Y, Z, whatever it may be, right? Give it a prompt where you give it a role, give it some context, maybe throw some limitations around what you want it to do, what you want it not to do, and get some good information, some good answers out of it. The AI is really good at that, but it's garbage in, garbage out, right? We need to be better at our prompts as well.
Yeah, the better the question, the better the answer, right? The tougher the problem, the bigger the transformation. You got it. And listen, I want to jump right into our main use case now that we've talked a little bit about how to use AI. I want to talk specifically here about how to use AI to increase profit and time. So for us as business owners, Joel, how long have you been a business owner?
I don't remember when I wasn't. So I'm getting too old to see back to the beginning. But it's got to be, man, it's somewhere 20, 30 years, somewhere there.
Yeah, 20 plus. Yeah, here too. You know, my first business opened, I guess, around late 2008, 9, 10 area. So we've been doing this a little while. So as a business owner, my goal is to increase profit in the business. In case you're wondering out there as a business owner, what should I be doing? It's increasing profit, right? That means increasing sales and reducing expenses to increase profit. Now, it's exactly the same way as a person, right? On the personal side, I want to save time. We all have the limit of 24 hours to work with. So I want to get more done in 24 hours, or perhaps I'm going to float an idea here. Maybe it's not about getting more done. Maybe it's about a balance. Maybe it's not 40 hours a week. Maybe it's 32, right? Which way do we want to go with this? I mean, do we just keep getting more and more and doing more and more and more? Or is there a place where there's a sweet spot, right? So let's talk a little bit for a second about 3 examples of how to specifically get more. First one, don't just use AI to compress info. So before we start with examples, it's valuable, certainly, like we just talked about, to use AI to compress information. Summarize this for me. Here's a whole book, right? Give me a one-pager for that. But that's not how human beings work, really. Really, the way we work is with conversations with each other, where we take an idea and we bounce it around and we expand and we really get the depth out of it. And that's really what I want to talk about, not compressing information, but expanding information and the value that AI plays in that. The first example, expand content, depth, and quality. Now, Joel, I know that this is probably resonating with you as well. The posts that I read that are from others, or the posts like on social media that I put out with content, the better that content, the better the depth and the quality of it, the better response, right? Because people like depth and content and quality, not just the same old thing, shallow, right?
Right.
And so use AI to enrich blog posts, reports, proposals with deep insights, not just summaries that everybody kind of already knows.
And that's where it really comes down to that prompt engineering too. Again, because what we saw when AI first came on the scene in a, more in the mass adoption sense, right, in the last couple of years, is that there's an explosion of content being created by AI.
Yeah.
And so much of it's garbage.
Yep.
So much of it's garbage because it's low effort, right? Yep. AI cannot do it all for you. Exactly. It can massively improve your efficiency, right? But you need to ask it the right questions. You need to tell it exactly what you want to get out of this. And you can create some great content, great thought-provoking content, and great questions. And like you said, not just a summary that everybody already has. Yes. And then you take it the extra steps, right? Then you look at it and you apply the human mind to it and say, all right, let me polish this up. Let me make this real.
Yeah. You got to lead, not follow, right? We got to be the thought leader and let it be our thought companion, as Jeff Wood so eloquently puts in his AI-driven leader. That book, highly recommended, by the way. Was spending some time with that this week. Very good stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this works. Why does it work? Higher engagement, better credibility, longer reader time. Isn't that what we're after? I mean, we're putting something out there. We're trying, as a business owner, as a leader of your industry, you're trying to gain credibility from your future clients or your existing clients, your prospects, right? That's what it's about. Second thing, make better, not just easier, decisions. So the decision-making process, this can be anything from deciding, maybe I want to figure out what other guitar I want, right? What's the best Strats on the market today, or if I want a Les Paul, right? So it's not just about easier decisions. It certainly makes them easier, but better actual decisions. Mm-hmm. By using AI agents for decision framing, scenario modeling, and forecasting, it works because you get smarter choices, you get fewer surprises, and stronger outcomes.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I think, credit to Jeff Woods again on this, but having if you want to make a decision, have AI ask you the questions you need to be asked to think through it, right?
Absolutely.
Have it interview you. And again, it comes down to defining the AI's role in that sense, right? Not just, hey, ask me 10 questions about this topic. Well, that's not going to get you anywhere, right? But define the role that you want it to take and say, ask me one question at a time. You're an expert in this topic. I really need to think this through. What am I missing, right? And have it ask you one question at a time, and each one builds on the other, right, based on your answer to the previous one. And you'll be amazed at the problems you can solve and the direction it takes you, so you can actually make a well-informed decision.
Agree completely. If you like, I want to take a pause here and invite anyone that maybe wants to do more hands-on AI stuff like this, like you're talking about, Joel, prompt engineering. If we do a training, I guess it's more of a lunch and learn every Thursday. Yesterday was exactly, Joel, what you're talking about. We look specifically at the ingredients and prompt engineering as maybe in the scenario of cooking. You're looking at, what are the ingredients that I want to put in, the context, the role of AI, putting some boundaries around it. What are the requirements that I want to come out of it? What are some ask me these questions to get what you need. This is the output that I'm looking for. All of those things, just like a good meal, you need those quality ingredients going into these. So if you want some hands-on with this type stuff in a mastermind type group, we would love to have you. Joel, would you mind throwing maybe our meeting link so folks can can schedule a meeting with us in the chat or something?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we can we would love to invite you to that and connect. Last one here: strategy suggestions and ideation. Use AI as a brainstorming partner. Rapidly generate new angles, ideas, go-to-market strategy. This works because it's more diverse thinking, faster time to market, and a creative edge. If you think about it, us as people, we base our decisions on our own experiences and our own knowledge. But when you have AI there with you, again, is that the thought leader leading things, and it the thought partner, you have an unbelievable resource to help you. What ideas am I not thinking of? Hey, I'm trying to accomplish this. This is my ideas. Which one am I missing? What's another way of thinking about it? How can all those type things, man? I've found AI to be absolutely fabulous at that.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% agree.
So the last one here, I want to leave you with a question here. What's the one area, maybe in your business, maybe in your role, whatever role you have in the company, maybe on, in your own hobbies or your own personal life, what's the one area where you're only summarizing with AI? You're maybe using it as your, as your spell checker, right? Here's my ideas, spell check this and make me sound smart, or check this out for me. What's the one area that's happening where instead of that, you could spin it around and use AI to expand your ideas, to expand your strategies, expand your ability to make good decisions, expand your impact at your job, in your business, personally? What's that one thing? So I want to leave you guys with that question. Joel, any last comments here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because, let's hear your answer. Well, what are some things that you've learned that, hey, maybe in the past I've typically just used AI to summarize this, but then I learned I could get a lot more value out of it if I have AI help me expand and dig deeper into that.
Yeah. Let's drop that screen share real quick. Get me and you on the screen there. Thank you, sir. Yeah. For me, man, I tell you, it's AI has been a bit of a journey. When I first started using it, it was Google foo. Instead of Googling, I just asked it and it gave me the answer. Pretty soon I realized, no, this is more of a conversation. You and I talked a little bit earlier, Joel, about porch conversations. Where I grew up in a small town, everyone knew everyone, and it was very common that people would visit. That doesn't happen much anymore, but people would come over and visit, and we would sit on the porch and I would listen. And these conversations where you're talking with someone and they're talking with you about a topic, that back and forth, that's where transformation happens for the human. not reading a summary of a book, right? But the time spent reading chapter after chapter about a topic and really rolling these things around. I think that's the real value here, to really recognize that the ability to expand your own abilities that AI brings. I think that's really one of the main things that is really important. I think that we grab a hold to and use.
Yeah, absolutely. We got we're only about 20 minutes in. We got a few minutes to discuss some things. I wonder if we just maybe pivot a bit to some cybersecurity aspects of this, right? We talk about that a lot with AI as well, and just the considerations of cybersecurity with AI. And we brought up before the idea of agentic AI, right? And there's a lot of power and a lot of promise there, a lot of potential, especially with the company saying, hey, we can take 90% of the workload and have AI do that. But what are some concerns around that? Agentic AI implies that you're giving this AI access to a lot of stuff, right? I mean, if it's doing this work for you, it's, I think of Meredith Whittaker. She's the CEO, president of Signal, the messaging app. And she said something about this and said it's like putting your brain in a jar, and you're giving these agents root access to everything, right? Mm-hmm. They got root access to your messaging, to your calendar, to your email, and that's just for the basics. That's just for like, hey, I want AI to read my emails and summarize and reply and schedule meetings for me. But that implies they have access to all this stuff, right? And nowadays, that also means that's most likely happening off device, right? That's happening in the cloud somewhere. So, yeah, that brings us some concerns, right, that we should be thinking about. What are your thoughts on that? As far as this is the way of the future. We need to find ways to make these things work, but we need to be careful as we do it.
Man, I couldn't have said it better, Joel. We need to be careful as we do it. Real talk, AI and what? Cyber. Why do we call it AI and cyber? Because that's what IT is now. On the proactive side, it's AI. On the defensive side, right? Mm-hmm. It's cyber. And I think you nailed it, Joel. A lot of folks have not grabbed a hold of the concept that AI is actively in use in their company. They really haven't implemented anything in AI, but it's certainly being used by those users.
Right.
And that information that's being put in those systems, there's a real problem there. There is a real problem there. So what's the answer? What we're seeing, as we talked about in our first Goldman Sachs article, what did Goldman Sachs do? They came in and put in an AI adoption program at some level, whatever you want to call it. But basically it's saying, you know what, as a company, we recognize that AI is a huge potential for us to have an advantage. And in fact, if we don't take a hold of AI, our competitors are simply going to run over us like we talked last week. But in doing that, we have to first secure AI. So we have to look at what's AI being used right now. For what do we do for that? What we do is we use firewalls, right? We put rules in place to monitor at first what's going on right now to see what's going on. And then we look at securing that and replacing it with maybe a private AI platform or some kind of secured AI solution that is sponsored by the company, that is promoted by the company, that and enables the users, trains the users to use it, and encourages that. With Goldman Sachs, they said like 10,000 of their 46,000. So what they did, they put an AI internal team together, and then they took those AI internal team members, got them together. What we normally do is we get those together, and the people know the jobs. The people that are in those roles right now know those workflows. Leverage those individuals. They know way more about the company and the workflows and how to make it better than we ever would. But we bring the AI side of it to the table to both secure AI. It doesn't matter how much profit we make if it's all gone, right? So it's got make the profit and keep the profit. So You got to protect that goal. So locking AI down, locking that security down, and also putting in a platform. We've got several options that we can talk about, but private platforms that will give you the different options to the various AI. Should we go all, we get this question a lot. Should we go all Copilot? Should we go all Chat GPT? Should we jump on the Google train with Gemini? It's hard to know right now. It's hard to know who's going to win this race right now. So
Right.
what we're recommending is to use one of these private AI platforms that gives you access to all of these different engines, but keeps your data safe. It's a SaaS, if you will. So as a private SaaS tenant, it provides you the access to the LLMs and the ability to use your own data to control it. And with those SaaS, the good ones, they provide role-based access controls within those. They provide PII filters within those. They provide the ability with no coding to create automations and apps, AI apps specifically for maybe marketing or sales or whatever department. That's what we're seeing work with our clients. Again, what works? The same thing that worked when you were trying to come up as a kid. First, you learn to crawl, then you learn to walk, then you learn to run. And I see a lot of companies right now, almost all will say, we know that AI is in our future. We know we need to do something with AI. But such a small percentage are actually doing anything because they don't know what to do. How do we do? It's so overwhelming. So crawl, what does crawl mean? Number one, crawl means get AI in front of everyone. Empower every single person in the business. Maybe not day one. Pick your AI internal use group, right? Get it going with that. But just putting AI in the hands of all your workers are going to bring the whole level up. Once you see who's really grabbing hold of it and using it, and you got the workflows defined and you got it, then we take and we create automations around that. We compress that workflow and we automate it where AI comes. A lot of times, Joel, it's not even about AI. Like you've told me with our own internal Office 365, it's just using Power Automate is awesome.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, you're paying for it already, right? Just use it. AI can help you be better at using Power Automate. But,
right. But it's not this scary automation. It's not this scary AI thing. A lot of times it's allowing AI to help you simply do workflow, just better workflows and just, those type things that's not like AI doing your job or taking over anything, but it's assisting you to help in whatever area of the business that needs help with.
Big time. Yeah. I mean, it's really just about intentionality, right?
It is.
You have two options. There's really not a third. You have two options: bury your head in the sand, hope this goes away, which I think anybody can tell you. If you really honestly look at it, it's not going away. So don't bury your head in the sand. The other option is to be intentional about it. Absolutely. I suppose the third option is to sit somewhere on the fence and really be ineffective on either side, right? So be intentional. Have a plan. Have someone that's heading up the initiative within your company, right? Find a good partner to partner with, an outside vendor that specializes in these things.
Yes, that would be us.
Yeah, that they can come in and guide you, because we do this over and over and over, right? And we work with other companies, so we've got that benefit of the experience, seeing it work and what works and what doesn't work in other environments. We can come in and help you with yours. But either way, the idea is intentionality. Get ahead of it. As I think Eric Schmidt, I think he said recently in a TED talk, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? You got to ride this wave every day, but we got to get going. You're not gonna win the marathon standing on the starting line.
Agreed. Use that meeting link in the chat. We want to get your questions answered. We'd love to have a one-on-one and talk about how we can really help you. You know what they say? The best time to start was when? Yesterday. When's the second best time? Right now. Right now. So thanks for tuning in. See you next time. See you next Friday, actually. We do this every Friday. So please set your calendar and join us next time for